the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power! Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Are you feeling fatigued and can barely make it through the day without some type of caffeine?
Are you on a journey of healing your body but need a little help?
Then alkaline water is what you really need.
Alkaline water has many benefits. Alkaline water can help restore pH balance in the body. Consuming beverages such as soda and coffee can make your body acidic.
Did you know that too much acid in your body has been linked to an anemia, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, chronic pain, and other chronic conditions like gout and arthritis?
Those who use alkaline water have reported increased energy levels, clearer skin, reduction in inflammation, better digestion, and many other health benefits. I've used alkaline water for years, and it's been instrumental in sustaining my health when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis.
Are you ready to take responsibility for your body's health?
If the answer is yes, then our alkaline water is just what you need. Bring your own bottles. It's only $3 for each gallon. To place an order or for more information, you can reach us at 773-846-3091. Thank you in advance for your support.
Hi, my name is Sister Ebony Stevenson. I am your announcer for today. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street here in Chicago, Illinois, and also live on Facebook. If you would like more information, you can reach us at www.facebook.com/TomaNation2 or give us a call at 773-952-8302. Now I'm going to recite our opening. In the name of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and the one who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Odumare, Eshu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty Spirit, and it is to that essence which I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the Lost 13 tribe, born in North America and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth flows through our veins. I greet you in the ancient but holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Now I am going to recite the 13 points of what we believe and know. Number 1. We believe and know that we are not to repeat the mistakes of the past prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth. Number 2. We believe and know that we can only establish an economic base through the application of the knowledge of self and the incorporation of the ideologies of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mahatma Gandhi, and Ben Ami. Number 3. We believe and know that the prophets and messengers of the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kemetic Holy Books were all black. Number 4, we believe and know that Jesus Christ of 2,000 years was and is a black man. Number 5, we believe and know that the knowledge of the Almighty Creator goes beyond books written by the prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator. Number 6, we believe and know that in order to promote and coordinate unity, we must first recognize and accept the uniqueness of being able to worship our Creator, regardless of religious denomination, name, title, ritual, particular dress, or holy book, as long as it recognizes the Almighty Creator of the heavens, earth, and the universe as supreme. Number 7, we believe and know that it is impossible to tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of the world. Number 8, we believe and know that the United States government, in collaboration with other European nations, have a now objective to exterminate dark-skinned people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. Number 9, we believe and know that some of the most effective methods that are being used today are AIDS, birth control, alcohol and drug abuse, vaccinations, gang and domestic violence, systematic elimination of trauma centers, the public school system, and public aid within the black communities of America and the world. Number 10, we believe and know that the last trick that Satan is playing on us is the dividing of us by our religious differences, religious gangbanging. Number 11, we believe and know that the conflict between the various religions are comparable to the conflict between various street gangs within the inner cities of America. Number 12, we believe and know that the war on drugs and gangs is a diabolical plot to disarm the black community of weapons, break up the black family, withdraw our constitutional rights, also kill and incarcerate young black males under the undercover code name April 2029. And number 13, we believe and know that every letter, shape, sound, and numerical value contains esoteric information that completely transcends the specific contextual meaning of the word. Our purpose: to bring about the growth of a righteous community in accordance with the laws of the Creator of the universe, under the leadership and guidance of Brother Minister Raheem Quasad Aten, to provide solutions to the social and economic ills that plague the communities of urban America. Our goal: to re-educate and retrain youth and young adults to develop positive moral values as an alternative to delinquent behaviors, because you can't rebuild a community and not rebuild the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibilities of maintaining the community's image. Our mission: to enhance the economic development of our communities by establishing businesses, real and personal properties, thereby creating jobs and/or entrepreneurship training programs that will reverse the concept of leaving the community to buying back the community. Our motto: let your light so shine before men that they shall see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Now we're going to recite our salute to the red, black, and green flag. Everyone put your right fist in the air and repeat after me. Here's to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green. Hopes in its future bright, Africa has seen. Here's to the red of it, great nations shall know of it. In time to come, red blood shall flow of it. Historians shall write of it, this flag of mine. Here's to the black of it, 400 million's back of it, whose destiny depends on it. The red, black, and green of it, oh flag of mine. Here's to the green of it, young men and women shall dream of it, face shots and shells for it, maidens shall sing of it, waving so high. Here's to the whole of it, colors bright and pole of it, pleased is my soul with it, regardless of what is told of it. Thanks to God for giving me this great flag of mine. Please keep your right fist raised high in the air as we sing our Black National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Black power, black power, black power. Black power is the power to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. I am your lecturer for today, Sister Ebony Stevenson. And the title of my lecture today is Nourishing the Temple. I'm going to begin by reading our opening. Bring it up to me. You just landed it, but up. Okay, thank you. All right. I'm going to begin by reciting our opening. In the name of the everlasting Father, He that causes all that exists to exist, He that is self-existent, He who directs the sonships of millions and trillions of years, and He who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites as Amid Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafaris as Jah, Rastafari. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty God, and it's to Him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the lost 13 tribe, born here in North America, and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth flow through our veins. I greet you in the ancient yet holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Greetings, 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 brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Culmination Sunday Worship Service, located in the Chicago community, in the Grand Crossing community of Chicago at 616 East 71st Street, right in between Cottage Grove and King Drive. Come and be fed by God's messengers. I am your speaker for today, Sister Ebony Stevenson, and the title of my lecture is Nourish the Temple. For those of you who don't know, every May, the Toma Nation observes May as a health month. And for the entire month of May, we cover many different health issues. Excuse me. In the past, we have covered food oppression, we've covered mental health, we covered fibroids in Black women, we covered several issues, nutrition, and this is something that we observe every month. And so if you would like more information about health or any of our previous lectures, you can always feel free to join us in person every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. or you can shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. And so when the topic of my lecture about nourishing the temple, it can mean so many different things. But today, I'm going to cover nourishing the temple from a food perspective and not a spiritual perspective. And so think about it this way. So when you look at the definition of nourish, is to provide with the food or other substances necessary for growth, health, and good condition. So what are the substances that your body needs that are necessary for growth, health, and good condition? And when you look at the definition of temple, a place of worship, a building used for spiritual rituals and activities such as prayer and sacrifice. We know here at Toma Nation that your temple is not the place that you go to on every Sunday, and it's not the edifice, the building that we find ourselves in. We know that the temple is what you were born with, your body. And so when you look at the body as a vehicle, and it's just like your car, just like your motorcycle or whatever vehicle that you have to keep it tuned, fueled, and clean. So it's the same thing with your body. You got to take your body, taking your vitamins and minerals and herbs. It's the same as taking care of your car. And so you wouldn't drive your car, well, some of you would, but hopefully a lot of you wouldn't, without checking the oil, topping off the fluids, or cleaning the engine. Neglecting maintenance leads to breakdowns, costly repairs, and early retirement of that vehicle, right? And so when you look at vitamins and minerals, that's the oil and the fluids in your body. They keep your organs, mind, and your bones running smoothly. How many of us want our bones to run smoothly? Preventing wear, tear, overheating, or failure. Herbs. Herbs are like adding premium fuel or a special engine cleaner. They purify, strengthen, and restore balance, helping the body to perform at its best. Here at the Toma Nation, our leading teacher and guide, Minister Raheem Kased-Aten, has a prescription that he has provided us for different ailments that are based on herbs and minerals and getting those things in your diet. And so herbs is very important if you want to keep your vehicle working. Water, that's the coolant that flushes toxins and keeping things flowing. Everyone has toxins in their body. And given that your body is made up of, I think, was it 70% water, if I'm not mistaken, 70, something like that, percent of water, that you need water in your body to help continually flush toxins out. Because we know that the air we breathe is poison. We know that the food we eat is poison. We know that the water we drink is poison, especially in 2025 if you're still drinking tap water. And so it's very important for you to be able to flush toxins out of your body on a consistent basis. And then rest and exercise. That's like rotating your tires, checking the alignment, and making sure everything's balanced for your journey. And when you look at bringing this up to the King James Bible, 1 Corinthians 3:16, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. And so when we talk about the temple, maintaining the temple, your body is your own responsibility. And so as we talk about, that the body is God's temple and that you're supposed to steward with care, just like you wouldn't let like your church or your mosque fall into ruin, you can't ignore the daily upkeep of your health. Now, when we talk about nourishment, we know that it can be a little bit controversial subject when you talk about having access to quality foods that can actually nourish your temple. And so when you look at in our communities, especially here in Chicago, food insecurity is a huge issue. And it disproportionately affects Black communities, not just in Chicago, but in many inner cities in urban America. In Chicago, there are a higher percentage of residents who are Black facing food insecurity compared to other areas of the city. This issue is often linked to structural barriers like redlining. Do you think redlining stopped? No, it still goes on. And systemic disinvestment. We see systemic disinvestment every day. Look at any time we try to get a proper co-op or grocery store in our community, how long does it stay? And so when we talk about having limited access to grocery stores, that means we have limited access to healthy food options in these communities. And when you talk about food oppression and how many black people in Chicago live in the food oppressed community, now black people only comprise 33% of the Chicago population, but nearly 80% of black residents in Chicago live in a food oppressed community. And since we know that when you're low income, you are more at risk of diet-related chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, COPD, and the list goes on and on and on. How many of us either ourselves or know someone with these issues, with these diseases? Cancer is running rapid in our community. And so when you look at the relationship between disease and food oppression and not having access to healthy food, those things go hand in hand. And that is food inequity here in Chicago. And so the thing is, we really have to understand that this isn't an accident, right? And it's very serious. Look at what happened when Whole Foods in Inglewood got all of those tax breaks and they sat in the community. And then when the tax breaks ran out, Whole Foods disappeared. And then, people crying out for a grocery store. And what did they want to replace it with? Save a lot?
Food for less.
Food for less?
Less value.
Someone said food for less value. Save a lot? What are you saving? It's going to cost you more on your health later on. And it's crazy because I know somebody who just went to Save a Lot yesterday, and they hadn't been to Save a Lot since Save a Lot closed. And knowing that I was at a community meeting, and I believe the name of the entity that bought the Save a Lots was Yellow Banana. And, they talked about how, it was a new day, it was a new store, and they were going to do this, and they were going to do that. And this person that I know who just went into Save a Lot yesterday, the one that reopened on Stony Island, she was like, the produce was old, it wasn't nothing new. And actually, she said, why did they even open this back up? Wow. Now, if those of you who are not familiar with the south side of Chicago, that area, the closest grocery store is Jewel Osco on 75th and Stony Island. And some of their prices can be ridiculous. But this person actually said, why did they even open this Save a Lot back up if they're not going to have quality products? And that's very real, because we know there's a price to pay for eating garbage. And trust and believe, I know. And so when you think about nourishing the temple, and when you think about access to food and health, when we look at, as of right now, even with the dollar going down, living in one of the richest nations, Black families are twice as likely to go hungry. Black children are more likely to experience food insecurity, poor nutrition, and diet-related diseases. Because this isn't just a health issue, it's a moral issue, a justice issue, and a spiritual issue. Why, by design, are Black people, are Black children more likely to go hungry and not have access to healthy food? Do we think, I know when I say sometimes that's by design, it can get some people in their feelings. But do you think it's on purpose, or you think it's an accident that so many of our stores don't have healthy produce? Thank you. Someone said it was on purpose. It definitely is, because look at it this way. When we talk about nourishment, and we know that in order to nourish yourselves, I just said you needed vitamins and minerals and herbs and water, right? Now, when you are not proper nourished, you experience what? There's something called malnutrition. What do you think of when you hear the word malnutrition?
Not nutrition.
Thank you. Now, do you know when sometimes people think of malnutrition, they'll think of those videos that they show you on TV or on social media of war-torn countries, and the people are suffering from starvation, and they're like really skinny, but they have the bloated bellies, right? And they're thinking about malnutrition. But what if I told you that malnutrition is not just the absence of food, it's the absence of nourishing food. And in that way, hunger is hidden in plain sight. Let me give you a couple examples of malnutrition that you wouldn't necessarily think about. A child eating hot chips and a honey bun for breakfast because there's no fresh fruit in the house. A grandmother skipping meals so her grandchildren can eat. A family depending on dollar menu dinners because their EBT ran out. Does that hit home? Does that sound familiar? How many of you know somebody who send their kids to school with a bag of chips and a 50 cent? Well, they probably not 50 cent no more. I haven't had one of those for a long time. Maybe they're $1. But them little high fructose corn syrup juices, and that's their breakfast. Are you getting any nourishment from that? Is that a meal? No. When you look at the family depending on dollar menu dinners, family having to depend on getting something affordable at Burger King or McDonald's or Wendy's. Is that a nourishing meal? Are you getting vitamins and minerals from that? No, you're not. And so the thing is, when you look at this issue with nourishment, it's not just a Chicago issue. And it, like I said, it's in inner cities all across America. Like, it's a Black people issue. And it's something that we have got to confront. Because when we're not just talking about malnutrition of individuals, when you're talking about malnutrition of the family and not having access to nourishing food, that has long-term consequences for that family when you look at the relationship between nourishing foods, healthy foods, and what? Disease. Now, what's interesting when I said that we're in one of the richest nations on the planet, and it's crazy that you would think that all the money that we spend on agriculture, all the money that we spend on war, all the money that our country spends every year, and there are still people who are malnourished, like we're living in a third world country. Look at Detroit, for example. 82% of the city's residents are Black, yet nearly half of Detroit households live in a food-oppressed community. Look at Inglewood. Now, we know this, but when you start to put things in numbers, it really brings things into perspective. There are 5 times more fast food restaurants than grocery stores in Inglewood. So let's say you are the head of your household. Let's say you're a mom and you pack in lunch for your children because that CPS lunch is horrible, and so you packing lunch for your kids. And you in a hurry, and so you want to throw some apples or some carrots and some dip or something in there. You're 5 times more likely to go past a fast food restaurant, a Sharks, a Harold's, a McDonald's, selling garbage, than you are able to find an apple. What's interesting also is that when we have these little stores, I'm not even gonna call them stores, I'm just gonna call it these little hole in the wall corner places that claim to sell food, they don't have not one iota of produce in the store. Or if they do, the produce looks like it's been there for a whole season. And so if you don't have access to healthy produce, if you don't have access to healthy food, how are you supposed to nourish your temple? If you would like more information about this current lecture or any of our previous lectures, always feel free to drop us a comment or shoot us a text message at 773-846-3091. Now, when I talk about that story about the mom, that's not a singular issue. It happens all the time. And, it's not it's not a failure on the individual level. It's a failure on the society level, on the structural level, on the spiritual level, and as a nation, because we know it's by design. Because we know that our neighborhoods need access to healthy food. Like, being able to be healthy shouldn't be something that you have to fight for. And we're going to continue to face these issues unless we address the root causes of not having access to healthy food in our community. And so let's look at how malnutrition increases disease. So now that we know what malnutrition looks like, let's talk about what it does to our bodies. Because here's the truth. Malnutrition isn't just about hunger today, it's about disease tomorrow. When we live in neighborhoods flooded with fast food, processed snacks, sugary drinks, and we cut out from fresh fruits and vegetables and non-GMO whole grains, we start to see it show up in our bodies in painful ways. And who feels it first? Our children. How many young people do you know walking around here with diabetes? How many young people do you know in high school and they already got high blood pressure, they already got hypertension? How many young people do you know already before they even go into high school that they're already obese? Is this just something that I'm saying out of my mouth? Or is this something that's real that we see in our communities every day? How many people do we know in our community who suffer from heart disease? Or someone who had a stroke? How many people do we know that have diabetes who have had to have a limb amputated? I'm not, speaking anything that's not true. You can go outside and talk to your neighbors and see this. You can look in your own family and see people suffering from these diseases. Now, I know that sometimes when we talk about things like disease and stuff like that, it hits home. It hits home for me. And so, we have to look at this as such an important issue, and it's not something that we can solve overnight, but it's something that we need to have a conversation about. Because when you look at health and you look at how health impacts your daily life, if you are a child and you grow up and you maybe eat fresh produce 2 times a week, how is that going to impact you later on in life? How is that going to decrease your lifespan? How is that going to open you up for disease? And a lot of parents don't know. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're just happy that they can get some food in the house to be able to feed the kids. But why can't they get access to healthy, affordable produce? Some of our areas, you have to go a mile out in order to get access to healthy produce. You have to go a mile out or more sometimes in order to get a salad or to get real juice, something that isn't made in a lab. Does that make sense? Do you think the little big fat and plump white kids on the north side are having these issues? I don't think so. When you look at what I just said about Inglewood as an example, having 5 times more fast food restaurants and grocery stores, what do you think is a big impact of that? Obesity, right? Because we know that there is a large percentage of Black adults who are obese compared to white adults. What do you think the percentage is? How many of you think it's 20%? How many of you think it's 30%? How many of you think it's over 35%? 48% of Black adults are obese. That's almost half of the entire Black adult population in this country are obese compared to 32% of white adults. 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. Black adults are 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. What does that set them up for? When you're in the community, and I just mentioned this, and you're seeing people in wheelchairs, right? Because they've had to get toes amputated or feet amputated, or they had to get a leg amputated because of diabetes. We're 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. Does that make us 60% more likely to have unnecessary amputations due to disease? Do you understand how that sounds? That black adults suffering from diabetes, that you're more likely to be at risk of having to get a limb amputated, having to get a limb cut off later in life due to the lack of nourishing foods, due to malnutrition. We're 1.4 times more likely to die from heart disease. And who do you think has the highest rates of high blood pressure of any group in the United States? Who? Black women have one of the highest rates of hypertension than anybody else in this country. Does that make sense to you? Now look at, when you start to talk about children, and it gets real, because we know children who are facing this. And some predominantly black communities in Philadelphia, Detroit, and Baltimore, more than 1 in 4 children are obese by middle school. I just mentioned this. We see it. You go in middle school, you go into elementary school, and you have kids who are in 3rd grade and they're already obese. Because they're what? They're eating what's available in their community and not having access to healthy food. Now, by the time our babies hit 5th grade, they're already being put on blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, and even insulin. How many children do you know in elementary school gotta go see their nurse so that they can take their insulin every day? Look at King James, Hosea 5:6 in the Holy Bible. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Of the things I just mentioned, how many parents actually know this? See, we've been told it's our fault. Everything is our fault. We just need to eat better. But how can we eat better? How can we nourish the temple if we don't have access to better? How can we eat better when policies that were created on purpose create food oppression in our communities, flooding our neighborhoods with junk instead of nutrition? Like, this isn't a mistake. This is by design. And guess why? AIDS didn't kill us fast enough. COVID didn't kill us fast enough. The many missiles flying past our windows every day aren't killing us fast enough. Disease isn't killing us fast enough. All of these things that black communities face in the inner cities of America is by design. And not having access to healthy food is just another one of them. I know that my time is coming very soon. I only have 3 minutes left. I'm going to continue and get a couple more points out. But if you want more information about this topic, about this lecture, or any of our previous lectures, feel free to join us every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street here in Chicago, Illinois. Or you can shoot us a text message at 773-846-3091. Feel free to drop a comment if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube. Now, just continuing on, I just want to share a couple more stats before I get ready to close out, and I'll actually be continuing this lecture Wednesday at 8 p.m. If you would like to watch it live, do feel free to drop a comment or shoot us a text. Now, what's interesting, ooh, bless you. When we talk, I just mentioned policies, right? So I want to share a little bit about just a couple of interesting things. Now, when you talk about diabetes, right? Now in Harlem, which is, look how gentrified Harlem is. Even now, Type 2 diabetes is twice as high on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, yet those neighborhoods are just 2 miles apart. On the south side of Chicago, the heart disease death rate is 70% higher in Black communities than in predominantly white neighborhoods. 70% higher in our neighborhood than in predominantly white neighborhoods. And do you think that that's an accident? No, it's on purpose. In West Baltimore, food oppression is tied directly to higher hospitalization rates for diabetes complications. What did I just say about amputations? This is nutritional apartheid, health inequity, and we're being targeted. It's not an accident. All of these fast food chains in our community, all of the soda ass, all of the liquor stores, all of the cheap processed snacks, the chips and the soda and the juice, why are they not popping up in wealthy white neighborhoods? Why are they not popping up in neighborhoods that have high residents of Arabs or other nationalities? Why is it the Black community where you can go and you got 50 gazillion liquor stores? Remember, it used to be food and liquor, and now it's just liquor. Why is it our community and not anyone else? Do you know the answer to that, brothers and sisters? Why? Because at the end of the day, everything in this country is about profit. And they are going to continue, just like doing slavery, when they profit off of our labor and they profit off of our bodies, when they profit off of our blood, sweat, and tears that built this country. The same thing is happening right now. These corporations, these entities that own these little conglomerates, that own these groups of food and liquor, well, now just liquor stores in our community, they're profiting off of our backs. They're profiting off of us, selling us junk, feeding us junk, and then who else benefits? Then you get sick, and the hospital benefits, the prescription company benefits, because then you got high blood pressure, you got diabetes, and you got a whole drawer full of medicine. And once again, they're profiting off of you. They're profiting off of your children. They're profiting off of your babies. Because it's by design and it's not an accident. And when we start to talk about unity in our community, and we start to talk about strategy and how can we start to deal with these different things that are affecting us as Black people here in the hellholes of North America, we got to know who the targets are, who's responsible for these things in our community, who's benefiting off of the death and disease and destruction in our communities. And when we start to have those conversations, then we can start to actually come up with strategies to actually start to have solutions instead of just always being a victim of other people. And so I'm going to leave you as I greeted you. Thank you so much for joining us for our Sunday worship service here at the Toma Nation. We always invite you to join us each and every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. at 616 East 71st Street. If you would like more information about this lecture or any of our previous lectures, feel free to drop us a comment if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, or shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. Black Power, brothers and sisters.
Sunday worship service. We invite you and your family to join us live every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street at our new time from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and on Facebook from 12:30 to 1 p.m. If you have enjoyed what you have heard, please feel free to support us with a monetary gift on Cash App at $TOMANATION. Once again, that's $TOMANATION. This will conclude our live stream. The message you have been listening to will continue live here at the Toma headquarters. We thank you, Black family. See you next Sunday. Black Power.
This is the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent,
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. In the essence of